had a few in mind.
Hello?
Hello.
So anticlimactic.
I might be a little tired. I might be a little tired today. I've been up since 4.
Oh,
Wow.
really? Wow.
Yeah. Oh wait, that wasn't me.
That was
Okay.
scary.
I've got 5:40. That's my record.
I woke up actually
for this week.
4:45, but that's okay.
Well, welcome to the Ramblecast After Dark. There's no song today.
So you might as well leave.
All right. See y'all.
Right?
Bye.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my Ramblecast. There you go. That's your intro. Not on a ukulele.
We're gonna make you laugh.
Welcome back, Chris.
Thanks. Yeah, I was a little messed up last week. I've had a long couple of weeks with work and in life. And last week, I think I forgot what time it was. I think it was like 6 o'clock, and I went down. I was down for the count. I woke up at midnight. Was up from midnight until 3. And went back to bed at 3. And got up at 6 and did it all over again. But
I think we were still podcasting at midnight.
Such
we
is
were
life.
still talking.
Well, that's
really?
because me and Matt had a chuckle about that because after we were done, maybe 10 minutes later, I checked my Twitter and Chris tweeted something. I was like, "Shouldn't you be in bed?" And he's like,
I remember
right.
seeing, I remember
Right,
seeing
he's
that.
like,
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I just woke up."
I've been here since 6. Yeah, I went. I think I crashed at like 6:30, and I woke up at midnight, and I was up until 3, and then I went back to bed and had to get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and do it all over again. So I've been. It's been a long couple of weeks, but so all is good. How about you guys?
Well, yesterday I shoveled the shit out of a ton of snow, so my back
there were
today.
shit in the snow.
It,
Oh my
well,
God.
I can only assume.
It's those
I can only
cats
assume.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but-
people not putting a leash on their
I figured
dog.
all
think
the
it-
squirrels would be like hibernating or
I
something.
know. We got over
What
a foot.
squirrels?
I'm just not sure what the. I'm not sure what the final tally is on our.
Really, you got that much snow, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How much
So-
snow did you guys get?
It was. I think they reported 13 inches, so I know it was definitely over a foot because.
Baker Stussen. Good for you.
Yeah. So that's it's always fun shoveling our alleyway, and then going to my work where the snowplow decides to just do this weird cut in the path that doesn't quite get all of our parking spaces in front of our store.
Well, they're
So-
friends of dolphins. That's what it is. So
There's no dolphins hurt or salmon designated by Jack's new background for
Well, I'm
today.
sure,
So
I'm
everybody,
sure there was probably one salmon last week that got hurt. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
look. So to fill
it-
Chris in on the
it got-
previously on,
I think it got hurt, and so did the people eating it.
apparently I made a comment about
His wife
Right.
cooking on air. It was-
no,
it was harsh. It
she
was
asked
harsh.
me and I agreed.
We're like going, what? Let's ask. Well, Chris, you said your wife doesn't cook, right?
Muted, Chris.
No, she does not cook one bit.
Okay, so you're safe. But Matt said his wife made salmon. And she goes, "Oh, it's a little dry, isn't it?" He goes, "Yeah."
I didn't respond that way. It was not.
It's absolutely terrible. But
No,
He
no.
took the
He's
plate and then
mutating
threw it against the wall.
Yeah,
It was just like,
changing the dialogue here. That's not exactly how it went down. So
So
But
what was the
but it-
aftermath of that comment?
nothing. There was no aftermath. All I said was like, "Hey,"
it was a silent treatment.
I suggested like, "Why don't you make some like tuna salad out of the salmon?" And so it was like a salmon kind of
to give
salad.
it some flavor.
Well, you remember right? Like a couple weeks ago when there was snow in Indiana, and Matt pushed his daughter into the tree.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened like a few days later because it snowed again, and he was like, "Honey, let's go out sledding. I know a tree that's perfect for you."
Yeah.
And that was the aftermath. I mean, the aftermath of what happened.
Yeah.
He's just slowly pushing all the women in his life into trees.
We do go a lot of sledding. That is true.
Your Instagram's been full of sledding photos.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I did share some videos. I don't know if you caught the one at the end, but there's a video of me going down the hill trying to videotape, and and I just take a tumble. It's just
I didn't see that one. That would have been fun to watch.
Yeah, there's one that I promised my wife that I would not post, and I did not. But I caught it in slow motion too. It's great. She's coming down and she hits the ramp, and as she's flying up, her legs go way up in the air. Nice. You see her hit the bottom there. Her head flies back. You hear her go, ooh! And I was like, I can't share that, can I? And she's like, no, don't share that.
But that's the good one, though.
She agreed. She thought that was hilarious. She couldn't stop laughing watching herself, wipe out. And
you could send it to me, and I could post it.
Where did he get this?
I hacked your account.
I was hacked. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do they keep getting my number? Anyway, yeah, lots of sledding fun, whether it's a couple inches or a lot, like we just got. So it was fun going sledding when it was kind of coming down. So
I didn't think anybody saw that.
I saw it.
Yeah. My facial expression of just what you said.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see it. I'll have to wait for Sherry to post it.
Yeah. So for anybody that doesn't join in on all of the Facebook fun, like Chris, Sherry posts fun pictures of us on Facebook at our own expense, some funnier than others.
I can only imagine.
Thank you for doing that. So
the ones about Chris last week were great.
We barely noticed that you were gone. We were like, what happened? No, we didn't.
We had 2 commercial breaks.
We did. We went.
We decided to go.
You guys went hard. You went like the Phil Collins edition.
We got a clarification, from Colleen about commercial breaks, and so we were like, oh, so we can go longer than an hour, and so we're like, cool. So we just did one long episode.
Oh, yes. Cool.
And snow wise though, we got a few, maybe 3 or 4 inches early. No, sometime like Friday, I think, and it's just been here ever since, like 2 or 3 inches just sitting, but it's been butt ass cold.
Yeah.
And so it's just stayed. Like today was probably the warmest day we've had. It was like 35, but not too bad. So.
We've just been getting that crappy rain. Just every.
Well, see, you guys are on the warm side of everything. So in the center of America right now, it's just this blue zone, which it made for the perfect recipe for when the rain did come through. It just was all snow. And the weird thing is the snow that we got, it was that light powdery stuff where you're like, oh, this isn't so bad, until it's like coming down at a half an inch per hour. Mm-hmm. And it starts to stack up, and you're like, what was light and fluffy has now compacted down into something that's a little bit heavier to shovel.
Now, are you where you live used to getting snow, or is this kind of like an abnormal winter for you?
No, we typically do get a snow here in Indiana. Usually it is in the February time period. Sometimes it's more in the January. And we usually get one heavy snow a year. But because last year's snow was so light, I think that a lot of planners were basically like, we don't need to you buy this much salt. So, when it's 40 degrees outside in December and they're like, let the salt rain free. And then now we hit February and they're like, we're out of salt and we don't have enough trucks because we didn't repair enough of them. So
and it sucks to hear and to see of all the folks down in Texas and down in the South who are having a real tough time.
No power and it's freezing.
No power, it's freezing. Can't heat your homes. Some of your pipes start bursting. You don't know what the fuck to do.
That's
sucks.
just I can't imagine. I mean, like what that would be like, but I mean,
it's like freezing. A 8-year-old woman died because she turned on her car for an alternate heat source, which is one of those things where you just you don't do that.
No,
I mean, it's just a bad idea. But it's coming. It's coming from an area in the country in which snow is a foreign thing, right? When was the last time Austin, Texas got a snowstorm?
Oh, for real.
It's ever happened, right? So if anybody who out there who has enough battery power to download and listen to this episode, I hope you guys are staying safe. Try and stay warm. And get the fuck out of Texas if you can.
Or just stay put. That's the thing. If you're not used to driving on snow and ice, slow the fuck down. Because anything
the problem is, though, and this is the case whenever when I was in the market and I was buying Jeeps, I brought a couple different Jeeps. You go online and you look for, the great deals on Auto Trader or even like CarMax, and you're trying to find these cars. And you see these Jeeps that are just like impeccable shape, beautiful condition. And it's like, 1998, if you want to get yourself old TJ or early 2000s TJ.
Tijuana?
You find you find a really good Jeep, and then you find out, oh shit, it's rear-wheel drive, or not necessarily a Jeep, but if you're looking at any type of SUV, you're gonna find all these cars are in such good shape, but they're all rear-wheel drive, and you gotta pay an extra $3,000 or $4,000 for an all-wheel drive version of a car.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's because down south, there's unless you are utilizing your truck for utility purposes. Most people who buy these vehicles down south are all buying two-wheel drive, and oftentimes they're either front or obviously front or rear-wheel drive. Nobody has the equipment to handle a snowstorm, let alone plows. No. Like everyone's cars are shit in the winter weather.
But even the driving experience, it's been years worth of driving on ice to know how to anticipate or how to, and if you've never driven on snow or ice, because they're different, and react in different ways. And then there's black ice, just when you thought it was safe to go back. Boom! We've got something more for you. It's darker, more hidden, and it'll get you. So
I'm used to driving on ice, but it's like in circles.
I grew up. I actually got my driver's license or got my learner's permit or whatever the hell it is. I think I had my driver's license in November or December. So I was taking my driving test. I remember
you've been driving just a couple months then. Wow, it's crazy.
It was snow. Yeah, it was definitely like
why'd you wait so
weather when I learned how to drive.
We had that. It had to be 14 years ago, maybe longer. We had an ice storm come through. It wasn't even predicted; just came through. And of course, here, North Carolina.
That would have been the summer or the winter of 2000, because I was in Atlanta for the Super Bowl.
I wasn't here.
We did have one go through like
that. Then it happened in 2002.
2011. 2011, there was a massive hail storm that came through the South. I remember that. But
no, my oldest daughter was in high school because Dale had to go get her because she got stranded at school. Because the whole town, I'd never seen anything like it, shut down. People were actually leaving their cars on the freeway and walking home. And I was at the rink, and we had people still there that were. So I kept the thing open, and people were coming in. And the lady came in and said, "It's a terrorist attack! It's a terrorist attack!" I go, "It's a what?" And she goes, "Terrorist." I go, "How did terrorists make it ice?" She goes, "Our cell phones aren't working." I go,
"Oh,
okay." But finally, I went home. A guy I worked with, we both debated on taking, because we had a Zamboni and Olympia. We debated on taking those home. But I only lived 5 minutes away. It took me an hour and 45 minutes to get home.
Oh, my God.
It was like it just wasn't moving. And I had an SUV at four-wheel drive, but it didn't do me any good because the cars in front of me couldn't move it. It just was... It's a nightmare.
January, February of 2000, I went to the Super Bowl with my dad. My dad won a trip through work, and he had like an all-expense paid trip to go see the Titans-Rams, greatest show on turf, Super Bowl.
Oh, just short.
Yeah, and I was literally
sorry, Nick,
right above that play. And I remember that there was an ice storm that kind of came through, like a snow and ice storm that popped through during the Super Bowl weekend, and nobody knew what the fuck to do. Like they had to bring down like plow teams from like, New England and DC had to come down and bail out Georgia. And I remember there was like from the group that we were with, they had chartered one of those coach buses, like not like a full bus, like almost like an airport bus type of thing, like a shuttle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we can't drive it. And my dad and I convinced them to let us drive. We're like, we're from New England, dude. This is nothing. We got this. Give me the keys. And we legitimately drove like 30 people from the hotel to the stadium. So we kind of saved the day for people to get into the game. But
did anybody ask? Your last name isn't Kennedy, is it?
No.
Okay. All right.
But too soon and too obscure. But it was interesting though to see like an entire metropolitan area just kind of like crumble right in the span of a 48-hour period because of the snow coming through. I remember being stuck at Atlanta airport trying to get the hell out of there. At the end of the weekend, Monday morning, it was nuts.
Well, like you're saying, when towns like Texas, they're not equipped for this, and like I said, when you get this kind of weather,
there's been situations a few years back in Chicago, just because of the basically there's no movement on the freeway, and the snow came in right at rush hour, and it came in so fast that as the vehicles were not moving, the snow just piled up right around the vehicles, and they had to literally abandon their cars on the highway, climb out of ports, or like dig their way out of the cars, abandon them, and come back because it came in too fast. And it was around rush hour, so you already had gridlock or slow moving traffic, and yeah, couldn't get it cleared fast enough. So, but yeah, I mean, it made for a nice snow day for me because I actually, even when my kids' schools closed or my wife's school closed, I typically don't close as a work. It's like, oh, I'll go in. But, and I had a ton of orders, but the roads were, everything was just covered. And I was just like, no, it's like
at least the Dolphins were happy.
It was hazardous. Like the roads were at the red level were basically only emergency vehicles. So, I just emailed my customers and said, hey, it's not going out until tomorrow. And fortunately, my customer base is nice enough that they're like, oh, stay safe. Don't worry. This can go out next week, and
what about the mask lady?
The mask lady, she can't get her glassine. She couldn't get her 2 sheets of glassine, so I'm not too worried about her. If she did come and knock in, there was nobody there. So, but
I'm wearing my mask now. Ah! Now, speaking of places that have bad weather, did you see the news today? Fernando Tatis Jr. is a Padre for life.
Oh, is that what your little title thing says there?
He's 22 and just signed a 14-year contract extension for $340 million.
You didn't have fast enough.
You're on mute there.
That's it.
300. I know it's people are like going.
I'm saying that's fucking awesome for you.
Yeah. It's because this stuff doesn't. I'm from San Diego. We have fuck you Spanos. We have people that don't show respect to the fans. So for this to happen, especially for the Padres, it's just an amazing thing. I woke up. I took a nap and I woke up to. I think there's a tear in my eye. And people on Twitter are going, how old will you be when the contract ends? They're like saying 48, 50. I go, shut the fuck up. I go, me and Matt would be pissed at that. But anyway.
What? Look, my back only feels like a 50-year-old because I shoveled snow yesterday all day.
But no, hats off to the Padre ownership for
stepping up.
I mean, the most exciting player in baseball.
Where are they going to get that kind of money?
Their owner has deep, deep pockets. Plus, with the Chargers leaving.
Yeah, more money.
They're the only game in town. So
I'm surprised your backdrop isn't Padre for life. Well,
I did.
You like to pick ID with your backdrops.
No, hold on, Mr. Sensitive. I did this yesterday. I woke up from a nap and just saw it, and I went, "Oh, I don't have time." That's where my Padre.
That's great, though. I just hope they can build a team though around him. I mean, you got a lot of potential there. I mean, it's great to have a marquee player, but it's better to have a marquee team.
They have Machado. They have great players there. And the farm system, even though they've made so many trades.
But how long do they have Machado on the books for, though? Is he long term?
Another 7 years.
Oh shit! I didn't know.
Now
I didn't realize that.
he can opt out, but and the amazing thing is they're doing this where most teams are cutting back on payroll because of the pandemic. The Padres have been going because they had no fans in the stands last year. They say at best, because we still don't know, because I think President Biden yesterday said Christmas we hope to get back to normal. We hope to get back to normal, so we'll see.
Well, I mean, considering the mutant versions that are out there, and I'm waiting for the version that turns me into a mutant. So, that's the only time that I'm getting the vaccine is if I know I'm going to become a mutant.
Well, I want to be a turtle in a half shell. Turtle power.
Turtle power.
Yeah, so Governor Baker of Massachusetts announced today that they're opening up vaccinations to 65 plus, which is good.
Move to Massachusetts, man.
What?
So I got now the problem is I have my mother who's by herself and kind of not able to do a whole lot of things on her own. Now I got to try and help her navigate and see if I can log on tonight and get her signed up, because I think it starts tomorrow over the signups for these vaccines, and she's quite inept when it comes to technology. So got to see what we can do to help her out. But I'm just relieved. My in-laws or my father-in-law is very much a technology person, so he's literally staying up all night.
Oh wow!
I say a technology person. It's a fucking online sign up. It's nothing crazy. It's just my mom is just
the fact that he's ready to go.
Is this like trying to get tickets at Comic-Con where you have to keep
it really is.
It's really
it's one of those things. So there's a website set in Massachusetts for vaccines where you log on to the state website and there's like a number. You type in your zip code and it gives you a list of all the places in the area that will be doing vaccinations. So you click on one of them and you go into a waiting room. And the waiting room will lead you into the sign-up sheet that you can then request to have a vaccine. And that doesn't mean you're going to get one. That's just going to put you on a waiting list so you can sign up for an appointment at a certain point in time. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to get one. I'm probably scheduled. Won't be allowed to get one until July or August. The way things are going, because I'm like number 5. I'm in the 5th.
No,
tier.
you'll have yours by May. I think we all will. To be honest with you, I think we're all going to be caught up by May.
Well, my daughter's out because she's a teacher. The 22nd, they went back to school. Today was the first day, and tomorrow the school's canceled because of the potential ice storm.
Yeah, I'm just so frustrated about. And even Maggie, who wrote in with an email, hearing about the fact that certain teachers are eligible for vaccinations in certain states. Some states aren't giving them to teachers.
Well, again,
it's kind of frustrating when it's like, so in Indiana you can be a professional masseuse, like a massage, because there's a lot of elderly and a lot of like healthcare people that need that, right?
Well, yeah, you should contact the owner of the Patriots.
But I know of some people who have their masseuse license or license in quotes as I'm doing, who have been able to get their shots. But my wife, who's a teacher, still cannot. So she's been
teachers.
Like, can I just lie and say that I'm I give massages? And I was
doctors, teachers.
If they ask, you just say, yes, I give massages to young children. pull out her teacher's license there, and then Bob's your uncle. So,
see, the crazy thing is, I was checking out the sign-up sheet, right, and it's similar in all states. And in the state of Massachusetts, if you have 2 of the listed comorbidities, you would qualify then for being able to get a vaccine ahead of somebody, like things like type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes, cancer, pregnancy, all these things. If you have 2 or more of these comorbidities,
you can't.
You have you have the ability to jump the line, and there's also later on the paragraph it says we will not be at this time verifying comorbidities or symptoms with your doctor. So I'm sitting there.
Sorry,
I'm
I'm laughing to myself about something.
Yeah, it's funny. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, does that mean all you have to do is just say you have these things and you'll get a vaccine? And that's exactly what it is. And I'm sitting there, and my finger hovered over the enroll button. And I was like, I can't do that. That's just fucked up. Yeah, I mean. And granted, there's probably going to be hundreds of thousands of people who are not going to have the same level of conscience, but I wouldn't be able to live myself knowing that I was skipping in front of somebody else because I lied.
Well, some people don't give a shit.
Yeah. No, but at least I will have the comfort in knowing that I'm not a fucking asshole.
Our my
at least in regards to COVID.
on the way back after the holidays, I stopped at my parents' house just for one night, and little small town, so everybody knows everything about everybody, and the gossip was already around town of like our town Karen, who's the town gossip, just the awful person that everyone hates in our town, was like, can you believe she went in and demanded a vaccine? She's 64 years old. She's not even of age yet to get it. If she went in there, was like, I gotta have it because and they gave it to her. And all these people were like talking. I was like,
that's just it, man. I mean, if you sign up and you go to these things, they're not going to turn you away. Mm. Like if I had to physically bring my mother to get hers, they would give one to me.
Right.
If I was there with her, I mean, thankfully I don't have to do that. Right. She's well enough to be able to do that on her own. Maybe not surf the World Wide Web, as they say, but other than that, she can kind of get around. But it's just crazy. Like there's such a big, huge plan, but there's really not.
No,
that's the worst part. It's a lot of it's the honor system. A lot of it is banking on the goodwill of people. And
well, I think
that's unfortunately the biggest mistake is people are selfish.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got people that don't wear a mask. Now they're saying because of the variants, you should wear a double mask. I go, yeah, right.
Yeah, I've been wearing a double mask at work for the last week and a half now. It's not great, but
because I was reading today, they said some of the variants. It just depends on what you read.
Chris, you can still get pregnant wearing 2 masks, though. I just want to let you know.
Yeah, it's actually not advised.
If you do, you can get a shot, right? You can get the shot.
He didn't have to worry about that
anymore. I was walking into the grocery store today, and it was funny because, it's bitter cold outside. It's like 10, right? Okay. And walking into the store with my son, we both have our masks on, ready to roll in. And it's at that point where, wearing a mask just keeps you warm.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, so there's a thread on Reddit about that saying, am I the only one who enjoys having to wear a mask in winter?
Yeah, no. There's this couple that are clearly, she's already got her mask, already down before she's even out of the building. And he's, ripping it off as they embrace the cold. And I'm like, more power to you, fuckers.
I thought, yeah.
The people that can't wait till they get to their car.
I'm just whatever. It's 10 degrees.
No, there's all these douchebags out there that they feel like for that fleeting 1.4 seconds that they're giving their finger to the man, right? Fucking mask.
We stopped at the store today to get some stuff, and there's an old lady there. She had to be in her 70s, if not older. Her mask was like this.
Yeah, the chin diaper.
The chin. And I'm going, and my wife's, I go, well, you know what it is? She probably got her shots.
Oh.
At her age. So she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Just forget. It's like I was
on Corona myself.
There needs to be some education available to people, right? I mean, and God willing, let the Ramblecast be that educator, right? Here's the deal: if any of you fuckheads get your goddamn vaccinations before we do, God bless you. That's fantastic. I'm glad you're going to be healthy. But guess what? That doesn't mean you don't carry the fucking virus. So if you have a vaccine, still wear a mask. Because if you have the vaccine and you're protected from COVID, you can still get COVID and give it to somebody the fuck else. Yep. Regardless if you have a goddamn vaccine or not.
That's why I told my wife.
This is how fucking sicknesses work, you idiots.
That's actually something I was talking about the other day. I was surprised that this whole year that we've never had a PSA announcement on TV. You think that the government would say hey, we want one commercial per hour or every 30 minutes saying like, hey, this is how you wear a mask. This is how you do this. Like, and then now you could be like, hey, go to this website to sign up for your vaccination shot, or whatever. And then it could be just something that simple that everybody could do. But, there's a lot of people out there like, I don't know where to get a shot. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. You know how many people would be like, hey, I paid for no commercials on Netflix. What the fuck is this shit?
The last PSA that I saw was actually probably back in it might have been back in like April or May. I don't even know what it was, but it was the Surgeon General. I don't even know his name. The former Surgeon General.
Gary.
The black dude. I don't know his name.
I remember. Yeah,
I remember he gave a demonstration.
I think that's his name.
Was Gary?
The black
Gary?
dude. I think that's his name.
At least I gave him a name.
Yeah, it's just Gary.
Black.
He didn't want to have a last name. He wanted to be like Prince.
Yeah.
If you're known by just one name, then you've made it. And he's just
the general, formerly known as the surgeon. But anywho, so I remember he was doing a PSA on how to make a homemade mask because it was back when nobody could get fucking masks, and he was repurposing a T-shirt and showing how to do it.
Oh, and right.
They thought it was a good idea to choose a fucking Narcan T-shirt. Like he took a T-shirt that had like Narcan across it, which for those at home listening, that's a drug that they jam into your heart or shoot up your nose. Inhale if you're on a overdose of heroin.
Well, he probably was getting kickbacks.
Probably
advertisement.
Like who the fuck produced that? It was like, let's use a Narcan T-shirt to show how to make masks. Like it's just there's no taste in that. Like the worst you could do is get a goddamn Fruit of the Loom white T-shirt and make a mask.
Maybe have like a picture of the Grim Reaper on your T-shirt and do that.
You could do that. Hey, that it looks like got to the chat. Got tequila. I do actually. I am enjoying a margarita as I speak.
Meh.
I just see meh. Yeah, okay.
But this time, speaking of commercials,
that is Matt's job. How many times do I tell you?
I get it, but Matt's just sitting there like going,
No, I'm letting the conversation. Chris missed out last week, so I'm trying to, let him have his.
After the commercial, I've got a debate for you all.
All right, commercial break now. Clock it.
Okay, so. The other day.
The other day.
I met a bear out in the woods. Way out there.
Sorry.
No, anyways, so the other day I had a team meeting.
A meeting.
And one of my my coworkers, one of my other managers that I work with, was thoughtful enough, I wasn't, and brought a dozen donuts.
Aww.
And some munchkins from Dunkin.
I thought
you went in for some donuts. I thought it was a team meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were on a diet.
No, I didn't eat any. I didn't.
Oh wow. Nice.
But I would have, however, though, because I opened up the box, and the first thing I noticed is that this dozen donuts from fucking Dunkin' Donuts didn't have a Boston cream donut in there.
Oh. I thought you were going to say these nuts.
Yeah. So let me just ask you guys a quick question here. If you are getting a dozen donuts, what are the 4 cornerstone donuts that you would expect in a dozen donuts?
Glazed chocolate.
Glazed and chocolate.
That's 2. That's 2 corners. We got 2 more.
Powdered.
Nah, those are like the little ones you get at the gas station.
Yeah,
no, like a
you can get the big.
Yeah,
you get the big.
Like if you get
I
a
will
baker's
allow it, Matt, if you say powdered and jelly filled, because
that's to say jelly filled is going to be my next.
Powdered jelly filled. Okay. Now we've got one, and
one
then
with
the
sprinkles.
So this is kind of a wild card, right? So I'm with you, Jack. You could have the typical sprinkled donut or the chocolate glazed, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah.
So
well,
where you get
where you get the
apocalypse when it comes to donuts, right? And we have a chocolate jelly Boston cream and a random. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
glazed. Obviously, the glazed donut is.
I like the plain donut.
Yeah, the original glazed donut.
Dunkin'.
No, I'm talking just plain.
Just a plain
donut.
You're talking about.
I'm not surprised from bun patty bun. Yeah.
Bun patty bun rate. The cake fucking donut.
I just want the cake.
Jack, do you guys have Dunkin' in Raleigh?
We do. We're a big town now.
So you have to remember Krispy Kreme is
king
in the
South. They actually have a donut called the Dunkin' Donut, which is it's actually shaped almost like a the mail symbol, the circle with the arrow on the end, because it's legitimately made to dunk into your coffee. It's just a regular cake donut.
I don't drink coffee,
but there's a lot of responses. This is cool, but like the idea that this is a fucking Dunkin' Donuts, like it's in the name of the goddamn business. You are a donut company, and they did not have the following. There was no Boston cream. There was no chocolate glazed, and there was no plain Dunkin' Donut or plain donut.
Was there a shortage?
What did they have?
See, that's the question. I don't know. I have so many follow-up questions to ask this Dunkin' Donuts crew. Like, who the fuck do you think you are by not putting a Boston cream donut in a dozen donuts in the Boston area?
Yeah. Well, sometimes you run out of the ingredients. They could have been, because I've gone to Krispy Kreme. Sometimes they go, you don't have the original glaze.
Acceptable. That's acceptable.
No. That's their donut. That's the donut they made.
If they run out, they run out. That's business. That's good business. But here's the thing: is this donut?
At 8 in the
box
morning?
of donuts was acquired exactly at 8 o'clock in the morning. So there was not a run on fucking donuts at 7 a.m.
I love that. Randy says shaped like a Prince symbol. Love it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I expect to find that in Minnesota. By the way,
I was appalled, and I had a little bit of a fit like this at work, and like it was kind of fun.
You Karen'd it. You Karen over donuts.
This is not a Karen. This is a citizen. I fucking citizened it. Like, this is an expectation as a fucking human being that gets a dozen donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. It should have, at minimum, have one Boston cream, one glaze, one chocolate glaze, and then we'll throw the random at the end because there's some room.
So the person that got the donuts,
he's a fucking vegan. He didn't even care. He doesn't eat donuts.
What I'm saying is he just said give me 12 assorted donuts.
Exactly. He said let me get a dozen donuts. So, but the thing is, you shouldn't have to specify which dozen you want. Like, if you're going to get a dozen donuts,
maybe this is the crux of it.
Right? Donuts involved.
Again, that's the rookie mistake, because you don't rely on the person behind the counter. They don't care.
You absolutely do. When you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you order a dozen donuts from a company whose entire company was based upon that fucking magical dozen donuts.
They're going to give you the 12 oldest. They're going to give you the 12 oldest, crappiest donuts they have. That's what they're going to do. They don't care.
That's not how it works at Dunkin'. That's not how it works.
I've gone to Dunkin'. I'm telling you right now. It's like, no.
Two things either happen.
I will make the decisions on this because I'll have a coworker named Chris go Karen on me for not getting the right fucking donut. So I'm picking the donuts.
This isn't going Karen. This is going a citizen. This is an expectation of the donut industry.
No, but okay, let's put it this way.
Karens everywhere think the same thing.
If you exactly. If you went to that Dunkin' Donuts shop to complain, the camera would be out like this, and it'd be posted on YouTube. They go, check out this fucking Karen complaining about donuts at Dunkin' Donuts.
And
you know what they say? Fuck that guy. He should be eating Dunkin' Donuts anyway.
If this story hit the Instagram or whatever, I think I could tell you I would have many people defending me. I mean, if you look at the responses in the chat,
Dunkin' Donuts.
Scott says Jack is sadly correct, and that hurt to write.
I bet it did. Got.
Okay, I think there's two things that happened here. A, the Dunkin' Donuts, because of the proximity to Boston, they ran out of Boston cream. They're like, oh fuck, we're out of.
They don't have a lobster roll donut.
The thing is, Dunkin' Donuts was established here.
Yeah, but they ran out of the special sauce.
Dunkin's hometown.
Ran out of Whopper.
Again, the same thing with Krispy Kreme. The first Krispy Kreme was here in Raleigh. I've been to it. Yeah. And you have to have the glaze, and you sit there and go, you don't have the glaze donut?
At 8 o'clock. No, going back to my other point.
What you're doing right now is you're giving the Southern example that backs my point. Like, they should have this shit on lock.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The other possibility here, you already said it. He was a vegan. He was just like, I don't want any of the dairy stuff.
So here's I'm going to shoot down that possibility, because as a vegan, as this dude, he didn't go in and say anything. He says, I need a dozen donuts.
It was a blanket.
To his defense,
to go back to my first point.
Did you fire him? Did you fire him?
To be fair,
he's my equal. So to his defense,
if he didn't get the right donuts, he didn't.
when you walk into a Dunkin' Donuts and you ask for a dozen donuts, this is my grand point here. So when you ask for a dozen donuts, you get the following, right? You're the preceding. You get the donuts that we were just talking about. That's part of the expectation of the dozen.
Have you worked anywhere outside Apple where they actually care about their customers? People don't care anymore. They don't give a shit. They're having to wear this stupid mask. They're dealing like stupid fucking Karens 24/7. So when someone comes up to them and they go, dozen donuts, fuck this person. Boom, 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 boom.
So God says, God was following up with you, and he said that sometimes they give the shit donuts to people who say they don't care. But
exactly.
In this particular case, that was not said. He didn't say I didn't care. He said, give me a dozen donuts.
Yeah, but think about it. You're 16 years old or 15 years old working at Dunkin' Donuts. And let's break it down like my Starburst flavors, for example. If you're a 16-year-old and you're trying to sell shit and, your Boston cream pies and your original glaze is always selling, but
he's tossing all the yellow Starburst.
All the yellows. You're getting all the yellows.
Okay.
Like nobody.
I get that. But in my 40 years of existence, and every single time I've ever been on the receiving end or the giving end of a dozen donuts from Dunkin' Donuts, that has never once occurred.
Because you're scary looking. This guy is he scary looking? Is he scrawny? I mean, again, you don't.
Who's my coworker?
No, when you said
he's not one of my kind. Okay.
You said the guy
he's 6'4", 240.
I am about 6'4", but I'm not 240.
What's he to get 240? But what? Once you say give me a dozen donuts, you're already saying I don't care. You're saying I don't care
to life.
No.
Yeah,
that's not how it works, Jack.
That is how. I'm not saying that's how it should work, but that's how life works.
But that's not how it is at Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh my! You know what? Look, we need to do another Netflix video.
He's got the manager's manual for Dunkin' Donuts at home. He's been reading that shit. He knows.
Haven't we done a versus for best donut? Have we not?
Okay, put it this way: they gave you a dozen donuts without the Boston cream filled donut, whatever. Is that guy going to get fired for not putting that donut in there? No, so he doesn't care.
Grandma's homemade donut.
I think one thing we can all know and learn from this podcast: Chris likes his cream, and he likes it Boston style.
I thought you were going to go. I used to every Friday morning. I used to bring donuts for work, and just I took over the trip. Someone else did it before me, and then they always say, "No, I will pick the donuts. I will choose the donuts that I know you're incompetent and can't pick the right donuts. I'm going to do that."
But here's the thing, and I'm seeing.
It was Dunkin' Donuts.
I'm seeing the chat, and I'm hearing you, Jack. I get it. I know, but and I don't know if
you don't see that every day.
I don't know if this is a regional thing or how long you guys have had a Dunkin' Donuts like in your markets or whatever. But there's actually a thing called like the Express Dozen at Dunkin' Donuts, and it's actually signified on the fucking labels of all the donuts. And it says Express Dozen next to it. And it has all the donuts that I fucking mentioned as part of said Express Dunkin'.
All right, what you need to do is we need to get a video. We need to get some cameras, go into Dunkin' Donuts and say, what's it called? The Express, what's it called?
Express Dozen.
Okay, what's an Express Dozen? And I guarantee you 90% of the people working there will go, what? They won't even know what you're talking about. I'm talking about the workers there. Am I right?
I think I've just lost the show.
But I thought you were going to go because I said there used to be this lady there. I didn't like her. And she would go and she'd grab the donut. I only want half. And she took both hands on the donut and she'd rip it like this with both mitts and put the other one with her fingerprints in on the. I go, well, who's going to eat that now? Yeah. And that there'd always be a half donut left. Instead of getting out a napkin,
plastic
knife and cut the donut. She'd take her and just throw the other, and not just gently put it down.
That's a chin diaper person, I guarantee.
Yeah, and I hated this lady. I hated her.
Matt Treese in the chat says, also speaking of which, did anyone see the video of a Karen yelling at a Dunks employee that a dozen is 50? That actually did happen. I saw this video, and this woman this woman had a lot of stature, I guess is a politically correct way of
was her name
her.
Chris?
She's at the counter of a Dunkin' Donuts, and she's screaming at this person behind the counter and trying to get a dozen donuts. And she's like, she goes, he's like, there's 12. And she goes, I want more. She's like, 12 isn't a dozen, it's 50. And they're like, what? It's legitimately like cocksure herself that a dozen equaled 50. And it's like, girl, you don't need a dozen, let alone 50 donuts. Like, it was an awful video. I felt
if you got 50 donuts, maybe they'd have the Boston cream pie.
Well, it depends. I mean, if you're at this Dunkin' Donuts that my coworker went to, the odds of getting a Boston cream are probably like 7% if you ordered 50.
Well, you should probably go there next time and say, I want 12 Boston creams. And see if
you know what?
50.
That's not a bad plan, Jack.
50 dozen?
If I ever find myself ordering donuts, I think maybe I'll just order a dozen Boston.
Okay.
Again, I don't.
We've talked about.
Wait. Would you go to McDonald's? And, yeah, just give me what everyone.
Dozen metro.
What everybody wants. I have a dozen
You'd end up with like 12 fillet of fish.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, so we talked about like the donuts that must be in the dozen, but what are those hidden gems that you go for? The ones that you're like a little bit on the border, the borderline.
Apple one. What do they call it? They want the little chunks of apples.
Apple fritters?
Yeah.
Not the fritter. I mean, the fritter's great. Don't get me
Cruller,
wrong.
Cruller.
It has the apple. It has the apples inside, right? Like
yes.
Really donut. Yes.
It's not a donut. You're saying that it's a donut. Bear claw?
No. It's a. I know what Chris is talking about. That's a good donut.
Well,
you got to ask for it.
Blueberry cake. So
blueberry donut is legit.
The blueberry cake is really good. That's the one that's like very cakey and it's glazed as well.
I like the buttermilk one.
Greg in the chat chimes in with blueberry, as well as Sherry, I think, was mentioning blueberry earlier. So
I don't like blueberries, so
I like the cinnamon sugar one. You know?
Yeah,
that's good. Or coconut. Coconut donut's pretty good.
Coconut.
Mm-hmm.
These are all Dunkin' Donut ones.
I like the nuts ones, you know, like, but you can only do the nut one like once. You know, you're like, oh yeah, that's probably why that
I've already nutted my donut. So,
hey, what's on this donut? These nuts.
Boston cream.
Boston cream.
We have a duck donut here.
Like lemon. Are you ever surprised by the lemon?
Yes, lemon's great. Lemon donut,
but it kind of surprises you if you don't know that you're picking up.
It's got to be like a once in a while thing. It can't be an everyday.
Like nuts.
Yeah.
So I have fond memories of Dunkin' Donuts growing up because the one there was like the after church we would go to Dunkin' Donuts. And
the letters are round. So you know it's good, right?
In the one that in my hometown where I grew up, they actually had a window. This is back when they actually legitimately made the donuts.
A window? It just wasn't all boarded up?
They put really good care into making the donuts. Now it's very mass produced. But you'd walk in and there's the counter in front of you and there's this huge 8-foot diagonal glass window in which you saw the employees literally making the donuts and with they're probably done by machine now, but they used to actually fill. They'd have the what do you call those cone shapes frosting things?
Oh yeah.
You see them actually stuffing the donuts with the shit right there, and it was just awesome. It was awesome to see that, and that's when they actually made legitimately good stuff there, and it's definitely now gotten way more corporate. I think they're actually changing their name from Dunkin' Donuts to Dunkin'. Yeah. So it's
because donuts is a negative. It's
a health thing, I guess. But
so it's Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC type.
Well, and then they can also do the whole branding thing with coffee, and what have you, because they want to get on that don't just think of us as the donut place. We got more going on.
We're Dunkin', man. I'll always call him Dunkin'.
One of my friends, his wife is actually an executive at Dunkin'. She's in the marketing for Dunkin'.
Well, did you call her?
Did she make this?
I brought it up to him. I was like, "What the fuck is this about?" And he's like, "Honestly," he goes, "This is probably what happened." So this is what his prediction was. He told me that Valentine's Day is their number 2 sales day of the year.
Wow!
For whatever reason, Valentine's Day is a big donut day.
Nothing says I love you than a donut.
Like clogged
heart-shaped
arteries.
donuts. Yeah. But he was saying that most likely what probably happened was they probably ran out of Boston cream donuts at the time that so and so was there. So
or they just
that's the logistical, logical explanation.
Sounds like a corporate answer.
What's the number one day?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. He told me. I forgot. But
election day,
Easter Sunday.
It could very well be Easter Sunday. Well, fuck it.
Because everyone, all the Catholics give up donuts for Lent, so they can finally eat a donut on Easter Sunday. There you go.
Yeah, problem solved. We got the first part of Lent, last part of Lent.
Because because my family's all Catholic.
It's gonna be
that's why the Filet-O-Fish was designed.
Yeah.
August 31st.
I give up being happy for Lent.
What?
Doesn't say.
When was the last time you were happy?
I was like, when did you pick it up?
Exactly.
In order to give something up, you really have to be consumed with it, and it doesn't.
I'm giving up the easiest thing. I don't want to make God mad. Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you have an answer for us, Chris?
No, I don't. I looked it up, couldn't find it.
Why didn't you ask okay, you knew this was going to come up.
He forgot because he's on drugs.
Another rookie mistake.
I'm not.
He was buying donuts while high, and this is the second most day you buy donuts.
I actually bought donuts one time high. I'm just going to tell you right now.
I think everyone who has ever gotten high has bought donuts while high.
This was at 3 in the morning. I was just a kid. And there was a Winchell's donut place I go, I'll go get him. I'm fine. And then it was me and Dell. We're driving around. He goes, what are you doing? I go, it's 3 a.m. I go, what are you doing? I go, can't find a place to park. Driving around the fucking.
Because you're going through the drive-through?
No, there was no drive-through. You had to go in.
He was doing donuts?
No, I was a little higher than I thought. I shouldn't have been driving, is what I should say. But it was just down the street from this guy's house. So, yeah. But I did get the donuts, and we had a lot of donuts. Just saying.
Oh man, these donuts are really making.
They're awesome, man.
Something's
done. Anyways, that was my Seinfeld debate over the last 48 hours, and I'm not giving up.
It's a good debate, but again, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say there was a kind of a kernel of an idea that came to me right before we recorded, and we don't have to do this as a versus today, but because I know Nick, he'd probably want to really have a week to think about this, but best cover of a Beatles song, because there's a ton of them out there, and there's a lot of good ones.
I would need at least a week.
Right? There's
so many.
Yeah. I know. I was just recently listening to the version of We Can Work It Out by Stevie Wonder, and every time I hear it, I'm like, oh man, that's so grooving.
It's one of those do you go with the J pick and pick something that a cover of a Beatles song that everybody knows, or to get the W, or do you actually go for
what is the J pick though?
There's a lot of J picks because
I would go with Ferris Bueller's Twist and Shout.
But that's still the Beatles thing. You have Aerosmith come together.
Was it Ferris?
It's not Ferris.
It's not Ferris.
I thought I heard him singing.
It's got to be Joe Cocker.
That's what I'm saying. You have Joe Cocker's with help from my friends. You have Aerosmith come together.
Yeah, I'm not a fan
of that. Aerosmith come together is so fucking kitschy. I can't qualify that as
kitschy.
But those are ones that people know.
See, I think I think it's just
don't get me wrong. It's just it's Steven Tyler, and
I'm just saying, if you have
isn't he from Boston?
He is.
God, man, I thought that was Boston.
If you have a chance to listen to the Stevie Wonder version of "We Can Work It Out," it's really good. It's got a nice groove to it, and really improves the song. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
that's a good one, but I don't know. It's a tough one.
I know, right?
Ben Folds did a good one for "Help," which is really good.
The I Am Sam
soundtrack. That's what it's all.
Yeah. A ton of really good.
Because he slows it down.
What about the Bee Gees' Sgt. Pepper's?
That's the worst album ever made. Everyone knows that.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
the movie was great.
Yeah, even Steve Martin was
Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam did a cover on
Yep.
I Am
I want
Stupid.
to hide your love away.
Yeah.
You got to hide your love away. Sorry. Yeah.
Didn't
That's actually
what's that band?
Although it's kind of
Axl
like
Rose.
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
They did one, didn't
They
they?
did Live and Let Die.
Live and Let
Die.
Die.
Song.
But then
Yeah,
that's
that's
not,
true. Yeah,
That's
yeah, that's.
I mean, the thing with Pearl Jam, it's my same criticism I have of Steven Tyler is that song is completely fucking Eddie Veddered. Like it's just, I don't know. It's fun to listen to, but is it one of the best covers? That's tough. This is a good versus. I think we should.
It's an excellent versus.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll circle back to this next week. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Sure.
Well, because I think we would all probably want. I mean, obviously, I've kind of showed my hand because I said one that I like. But...
That's why I don't like God. Can we just block him in the chat?
What do you say?
I don't know.
That's probably true though.
It hasn't.
Last time Jack was
Last time he was
happy.
happy was in the chat.
Fuck you, God. Anyway, I had something I wanted to complain about.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play
Yes,
Rock'em
Rock'em
Sock'em
Sock'em Robots.
Classic.
as a kid? Now, I saw this I said, we should get this for the grandkids. This was a great. I loved Rock'em Sock'em.
If you went broken in 5 minutes, yeah.
Now wait a minute. Now, so Cindy finally picked. It was up for work. She goes, "Should I get it?" I go, "Yeah, get it. When the grandkids come over, we can play it." We used to have tournaments and all this different stuff when I was a kid. I used to remember it being a lot more fun.
Yeah,
it sucks.
It's pointless.
It's like this was like $20 down the drain. I thought the robots were bigger too.
I think I actually got them at Epcot Center. And it was more or less the handheld version of the Rock'em Sock'em. So it was more like hand puppets that like they had like 2 triggers inside the hand puppets. So the arms.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we had those. I never actually had the ring like this one. Like the.
I never owned it. I always wanted to own it, and because a friend of mine had, and literally we do that with battle tops and stuff like this. Just hours of this thing, and it literally I get a cramp trying to knock the other guy's head off. But it's just like it just sucked. You remember something as your childhood, and it's just not there. I was bummed.
Not the first time you knocked yourself out trying to get the block off.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just a lot of work. I'm going to end up with tendonitis in my thumbs. It just sucks. So anyway, I'm just saying out there, if you're thinking about reliving your childhood and getting Rock'em Sock'em Robots, don't, because your memory for that will be dashed.
You know what toy I found going back to, or like, I always think they look cool, but whenever I actually play with one, I'm always kind of disappointed, is Transformers. Like I love the old ones with the metal, and they were like a solid car, and then you get the new ones today and you're like, twisting and like pop. So
I still have one of those.
Is that like a retro or is it an original?
It's a retro.
Okay.
I have the original.
I have the original at home. But
Wait,
speaking of childhood toys, this is the electronic football game everyone had in the late 70s and early 80s. Everybody.
I might have gave it to Jay. Shit.
Yeah, I remember the original. The color of the plastic was closer to the tone of your paint on your walls. That you
right, it's like a yellowish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, nice.
Used to play that thing forever. Just, the little line would go up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
Score! Yeah.
Or how about the one that was like a race car game, and it was like a dashboard, right?
Right.
Yeah.
A steering wheel and like a
You talking about the red one? It was like a little thing.
Yeah, and it had
little wheel, and then a little lever.
Like, projector thing in the back. You had to like swerve around.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about the one you filled with water and you do ring tossed? And you go, Kunk.
Oh, those
Oh
things.
yeah.
Those.
Yeah.
And I think
I had
like
one that was a
a
basketball
grandparent
guy,
or a
a basketball.
friend.
Yeah, I had the basketball one.
We had like tons of them, like ton of those like water ones with the rings and the ball.
Yeah, I forgot about. Yeah, I used to have the basketball one too.
I don't know if it was
I wish they would make those
before, during, or after Game Boy, or the first handheld games that were released. There was like that series of like handheld games, or like a plastic white case, and you'd play like Double Dragon. And
Oh right,
like
I remember that.
shitty little LED thing.
Yeah.
Oh yep.
would like have like an image of him kicking, jumping, ducking, all that stuff. Yeah. They had those for like all the games. They made like a handheld version of like all the popular like Nintendo games. At the time.
Oh yeah, I had.
Matt, you were saying they still have those water things.
Oh, I'm
sure they do. Yeah.
Do they still on that Cracker Barrel?
Probably.
Probably. But
if you're gonna find them, that'd be the place to be. Yeah.
It's gotten to that point in our society where it's like, where do I go? I can't get that on Amazon. No,
Cracker Barrel.
I don't know where, like, when I left home, Mom and Dad packed up all my old toys and boxed them up. And one of the things that are in there is like what you're talking about, Chris, is all those original Game Boys and Super Nintendos and all that stuff. It's like, and they're like, I don't know where it is. It's just somewhere in that building. And you're like, I'm not digging through all that shit. Are you serious? But I would, like, because I had the original Game Boy, and I had like the little magnifying glass you'd stick over it so you could see it. It is like, I had so many games, and
like that extra battery pack that they would expand it like twice the size of the actual Game Boy. Oh man, I had like screen burn on mine. So you would always constantly see like one like Tetris long piece and like the side of the screen, and it would just sit there. Man.
The best though, I thought
when Game Boy came out, that was more exciting of a Christmas morning than any Christmas morning I think I've ever had in my entire life. Like I will always remember
that Jesus and Santa.
Yeah, somewhere around 93 or 94.
You elf on the shelf.
Somewhere around 93 or 94, they came out with for the Super Nintendo. One of the things you could stick in there, and then you would stick the Game Boy cartridge in the Super Nintendo cartridge, and so you could play all the Game Boys on the Super Nintendo. I mean, you still looked like a Game Boy, but it expanded it to the big screen. So you're like, oh, this is so much better.
And traveling cross country was great, guy.
Game Genie. Yeah. No, I wasn't a cheater, Chris. I don't remember Game Genie.
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
What is this Game Genie you speak of?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I remember like the coolest thing back then was when I used to get my monthly issues of Nintendo Power magazine.
Yeah. Those things are worth a fortune.
Are they really?
Yeah, if you have like the complete set, all
I had them all. I definitely tossed them.
Yeah,
if they weren't sticky with like syrup and soda.
Yes, Matt. They weren't sticky.
Why would a Nintendo Power be sticky, Matt?
Listen to the way you guys are talking about it.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Look, guys, I never had
Princess was in another castle. If you know what I'm talking about.
Okay,
Shark anyone?
Look, guys, we should be fair. We should be fair to
sticky with Mountain Dew. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
We should be fair to Jack though and talk about Tic Tac Toe
for a car thing. No. I was pretty good at Tiddlywinks, to be honest with
you. I just remember getting my issues of Nintendo Power every month, and there is this section called like the classified corner, and that was like all the cheat tricks and the hints that you can get to
We didn't cheat levels. In my era. We didn't cheat. We earned it.
Yeah, I think that was the only way I ever beat Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think, or it's one game. I know one game in particular. I remember like that Nintendo Power. Like, if it wasn't for that, I never would have beat the game.
Right.
You're the reason why we had the steroid problem in baseball, you guys, because cheating was acceptable.
They don't even make guides anymore. I went when the new Star Wars pilot game came out. I was
Squadrons.
Squadron. When it came out, I was like, oh, do you guys still sell like the booklets to go along that tell you like where all the Easter eggs are and like all the stuff? And they're like, they haven't made those in years. And I was like, what?
You old fuck.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah. And he's like,
just go on the internet, old man.
Well, that's what he said. He goes, yeah, like all the kids now just watch other people play the games online, and that's how they learn where all the stuff is. I'm like, who the fuck wants to do that? It's like, what's the point of playing a game if you're watching someone else play it?
You see how many followers these people have?
I know.
Dude, I had like 75 followers at one point, and then I stopped giving a shit.
Yeah,
3 of them were these guys.
Yeah, we signed up for you, and then you said, "Fuck it, I'm not going to do it anymore." I go, so now.
Seriously, though, I would totally watch someone. I would watch someone play Pitfall and make it all the way through, because I assume the Atari game of Pitfall there is an end at some point,
there
right?
Fuck! I would watch it for the original Ninja Gaiden.
I don't think there is.
No,
the original Ninja Gaiden. I'd do that because I've never seen it beat.
But I'd like to see Ghost and I'd like to see Ghost and Goblins. I made
or like Donkey
7
Kong.
levels.
Kirby. Frogger.
There were some really impossible games that were made back in the day. Like really tough games.
The Mike Tyson boxing game.
I was really big into Qbert. So I had my old Nintendo, and I still don't know where I placed it.
Fucking Qbert.
Because I have a ton of games still.
Yeah.
Atari games. But yeah, Qbert. I mean,
I like Randy. Look how many followers you have watching
this. Yeah.
I know, Randy.
That's a good point. We're on a podcast talking about not watching games, and people are listening.
Watch this game. Watch what we do next.
Who wants to watch four guys just talk about video games for now?
Well, it was about donuts.
I had my backdrop as a bar because when we did the show.
Hi, Lloyd. Week. A little slow tonight. Yeah, gotcha. Shiny. Never mind.
Oh, I guess it's not. It is kind of shiny-esque. So
it does.
Greg mentions Donkey Kong Country was a big.
Oh, for Nintendo 64. That was like a breakthrough in
wasn't that Big Country with no song
back in the day. You get to play as Diddy Kong.
As Diddy Kong.
That's why the pages got.
You're about to laugh at me. Then you realize, oh yeah, I fucking played that game nonstop for like 3 years.
You diddle too much in Diddy Kong, Mountain Dew's gonna flow. So
I was watching one of those, press junket interviews of who was it? There's two younger actors, and Maude Garrett was the host doing the interview, and she has a Zelda tattoo on her finger. And one of the guys looks at her and goes, "Do you have a tattoo in your finger?" She's like, "Yeah." She goes, "You probably don't really know what this is, And he's like, "I think it's Zelda. Isn't that game from like '98?" And like she's like, "I'm really geeking out and appreciative that you know this, but it's a lot older than like Nintendo 64." But they were young actors though, so that's what they grew up with. But it's
Zelda was a fucking big deal when it came out, man. That was like the first of its kind type of game. Remember, it had a gold cartridge, and it was
That's the second one.
Oh, it was one of those special games you had to like.
Adventure of Link is the gold disc.
Oh,
Zelda is the first one where it's like.
I remember I played the 64.
Looking down.
Yeah, sure. You're right.
Only Nick would know that.
No, lots of people.
You had to hold in. There was one of those games that actually had it had storage on the cartridge itself for your save game. So you had to press reset as you hit power, so you wouldn't lose your shit.
Right.
You also had to have the uplink for that, the 64, like the booster pack that came out with the Perfect Dark kind of.
Greg says, did you hear the Zelda news today?
Yes, they're remastering. Was it is it Zelda Sword or something or other? I think they're redoing the game for current generation consoles.
Oh, cool.
That Zelda game on 64, though, I remember playing it and getting really hooked on
Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina, yeah. I think that is still considered to be the best Zelda game. I think of all.
And
I'll tell you, Breath of the one on Switch is fucking incredible.
I remember watching Jay play it.
Awesome.
Hey, Jack, after we finish talking Nintendo, do you want to talk Star Wars after this?
Sure.
I do have one bit of Star Wars news to get.
Oh my God, you're showstopper. Anyway, go ahead.
It's more of a proud dad moment.
Oh yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. I sat down today and watched with my daughter. She watched for her first time a full-length Star Wars-related movie, and I got her to watch Rogue One, which I'm super, super pumped about. And like, it took her, she's 8 years old. She'll be 9 in March next month, and this is her first time watching a movie. She's watched a little bit of Clone Wars. She's watched a little bit of Rebels. She totally digs the female characters, which is why I said, you know what, this is perfect. I'm gonna get her started. I'm gonna do the Rogue One plus machete order of Star Wars to get her into it.
Mm-hmm. Yours is the one that skips episode 1 altogether, right?
Yeah, but I might make her fucking suffer. I
would say that don't discount episode 1 because both my kids really were drawn to that movie, and my daughter specifically because there's so much Padme in it. She is a very strong female lead in that movie. You kind of like when you rewatch it, you don't realize like how much she's actually in it, and it's one of the movies that my daughter kind of like that was like her introduction. Like, oh, because seeing.
I did forget one major key point of the story that was kind of jarring for her.
For Rogue One?
Yeah.
The end?
Is that everybody fucking dies?
The end?
That's what I was going to say. Did she start crying when she realized everybody died?
But thankfully it quickly turned into, and I got her excited for it. I'm like, wait till you see what happens. Wait till you see what happens. And she gets to see Princess Leia at the end, and she's like, wow. But what's interesting, I showed her this too. We were watching it. You know the scene in which you get reveal of Grand Moff Tarkin,
right?
And in CGI, and I was like, hey, you know what? Something pretty cool. And she goes, what? He goes, that's not a real person. That's a computer. And she looked at it. She's like, what? That's amazing.
And
then I had to tell her at the end too that wasn't Princess Leia. She said, why did they do computer animated for everybody? I'm like, well, because they're dead.
Wow, we just cut to the, and then you're like, oh, and by the way,
I was very lighter about it. Like, well, they've passed away. They're no longer with us. And she's like, that's really cool. I'm like,
oh, nice.
So she's in, man. She loved it. She absolutely loved it. And it was one of those things where, putting on the dad hat, right? I was definitely kind of commentating along, just making sure she was kind of staying with the story, but more importantly, kind of like sharing the importance of the characters and what they were doing, and how they're dedicating their lives to saving the world. So she totally just fell for it. She loves K2SO. That's one of her favorite characters right now. It's K2SO.
Yeah. I mean, Alex did a great job.
And she was laughing at dinner. At dinner, like 3 hours later, she's laughing about what's his name, Chirrut. When he was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm blind." After he's blindfolded, and she laughed for a good solid 20 minutes during, and she was laughing at dinner. So it was a good experience all around, and it was. I'm psyched that she's in for the ride now. So we'll see which movie's next.
I was watching.
Middle school.
Speaking of Phantom Menace, I was watching an interview with Keira Knightley a few years back, and they were asking her about the Phantom Menace, and she was like, "Oh, I don't really have a lot of memories. I was 12 when I was cast in that film." She goes, "But she's in it. Yeah, she's Padme's fake person.
Okay.
She's the person that's always in the white, like when Natalie Portman is not." And she was like, I didn't really know what my character was or who I was because they didn't give me the script because I didn't have any lines. And it was always so secretive because this was the first one since 83. She goes, so basically they would just like put me in costume and then like shove me on the set and like, just stand there. And she goes, so when people ask me like, what character are you? I'm like, I don't know, Padme or somebody. It's like, I was so young. I have no memory of it really of it. It's kind of sad in a way, but it's funny too. It's like, yeah.
She got paid.
Oh, no doubt. There's no telling what she gets. Probably pretty good residuals. But it was her first role, I think. So she's probably not getting.
Emma has already declared who she wants to be for Halloween this year, and she wants to be Ahsoka.
It's gonna be a lot of makeup.
Awesome. Yeah.
I
told her I would get her lightsabers.
My daughter did Ahsoka a few years ago, and there was an outfit that was easy enough. Like it kind of had like a foam hat or whatever that they can kind of wear that can be the Montrals, and then it comes with like a little outfit. So, and then I think on heruniverse.com you should check it out. There's a cool shirt that looks like what Ahsoka wears. And
cool.
I got that from my daughter, and I think she's about ready to outgrow it, but she doesn't believe that she's going to outgrow it, because she wears it all of the time. But it's basically like it's a shirt, but it looks straight up like Ahsoka's outfit. So
yeah, the only thing I've ever
.com, they have a lot of Star Wars influence stuff because the company was started by Ashley Eckstein. So
right. Yeah, the only thing I've ever bought from her universe was a gift from my sister, and they quit selling it, which I don't know why. But it was a scarf that was in the same pattern as Ahsoka's head, So it's the blue and the white stripes, and so you would just wrap it around, and then it would hang, so it would look like, her things coming down. Mostrals or whatever they're called,
Montrals,
yeah, her Montrals. And so, like, I actually tried to buy another one for someone else. And I was like, oh, they don't have it on the site anymore. They don't make it. And I was like, that's
it does. They do have some limited kind of runs on some things. So if you don't get it in that size, and then you're just kind of like, damn it, I want them to make this again because
it's like Chris of the Donuts. right?
Well, I mean, just because I think they only have manufacturers that make so much, and then they kind of move on to other things.
No,
they
should fucking have it.
They do have a lot of cool outfits for both plus size women and little girls. Mm-hmm. Their focus is more on women as opposed to but they do have. I don't know what you're laughing about, but they do have some things from.
Sherry says she's always curious what Chris is looking at. But I said porn.
Donuts. Yeah, I'm pulling up right now. Oh, not porn.
Donuts.
But anyway, I was also going to say that they also have stuff from other studio lines. So, like, if you're like Jack and you're like, I don't really care about the Star Wars clothes, you can head over there and they have.
I do get Darth
Disney.
I want to be Darth Vader someday for Halloween. And just still gets candy.
You know what? I think you'd be perfect for episode 6, Darth Vader at the very end. Without the helmet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Chris, it's a pity. Like, the last two Comic Cons you went to, Ashley Eckstein was a nobody. She was just the voice of Ahsoka, and I met her many years. Now her line is so ridiculous at Comic Con, I don't even bother. But she was so. The first few years there, I went would just talk to her for a minute, and she'd always would remember I talked to you last year. I'm like, yeah, because no one knew who she was. And so, the few people that would come up and be like, "Oh, I love your character, you're blah blah blah," and she's like, "Oh, But now, because of her universe as well as just the popularity of Ahsoka, everybody knows.
Yeah. So she wrote and performed a chapter in the Star Wars from a certain point of view, which is actually really really cool.
She co-wrote it. Yeah.
And it was the scene in which when Luke, Leia, and Chewie. 3PO and R2-D2 go up to get their medals, and it was from the perspective of somebody who was watching the ceremony, and it's actually kind of a very cool perspective and a very cool story.
And they're all like, "This is bullshit. This is bullshit. Why do they get medals? Why doesn't the hairy one get a medal? What the fuck?"
But it was really well done, and it was definitely cool to hear. Her,
R2 got shot, didn't even get shit for it.
Right. So, Matt, if you want to pull up my screen here, I'm showing what to show Sherry what I was looking at. So this is what I found. Unfortunately, not available in a size that would be appropriate for my kid to wear. Only available in large.
Maybe they don't have this one anymore, but there was another Ahsoka one that they had.
Let's say Tang.
Tano.
Oh, Tano. I'm sorry, it does look like Tang.
Come on, Jack, get with it.
It's a drink of the astronauts. I'm sorry.
Cool. They may not make it. They may not make the one that I'm thinking of.
They're all large sizes, though.
They did have kids stuff. Trust me.
Yeah, they did.
So,
before
when your daughter outgrows her, send that over.
That's cool. They got the Mandalorian version of Ahsoka there with the heart shield.
Before we get too far into this episode, because we eventually will want to roll into the bonus episode, so we don't have to give too many more commercials. So, because we found out that past the 1.5-hour mark is when we have to do 2 commercials. Am I correct on that? Right?
I don't remember.
I think that's right.
I think that's the case.
I didn't pay attention.
Oh shit! There's a flap wallet that she would love.
It's a flap.
I gave Chris an email or a website.
Sucks, man. I'm gonna spend a lot of money on this website.
All right. I wanted to get to.
This is a flap wallet, Matt. If you want to put it up there, it's actually kind of cool looking.
Okay, fine.
Oh, so it's like a little purse.
Yeah, I definitely looked at that.
I didn't know that had a name. I just called it.
I didn't either. Little purse. Yeah.
I actually called it a wallet. I didn't know it had called a flap wallet.
Flap wallet.
Well, let me get you a flap
wallet of my own, if I may. So we got an email, and I wanted to.
It said in the title, "Not to be read." Maggie's email.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it says email just to respond, but not to be read. That's what it says there in the title.
I don't see that in the title.
Yeah, it does.
Oh. Well, then there's a second email.
Yeah, second as a follow-up to the first.
Well, what about this other one that just says COVID vaccine?
Whatever.
Well, This is a good opportunity to remind everybody listening that we would love to have emails that we can read to everybody on the show.
So please do send us an email at
rcadcast@gmail.com. And Maggie,
how long would it?
Maggie, I will just not read those on air. So
now I got to go read it.
Yeah, I mean, is it so hard, Jack, for you to read an email to yourself?
I just don't usually go on this email anymore.
No.
Anymore. Well, I don't have to because I don't have to do anything for the show.
Well, I won't read them to you anymore unless the emailers that email them want them to be read. And by gone,
there goes your drawing, Maggie.
I'm sure she has a plethora of them.
Yeah, I'm like, do you want some more? I'm sure I can send something out.
This one's of my stepsister.
You.
Wearing a Sokotano gear.
and nothing else.
Thanks for making it really fucking creepy, Nick. Thanks. But just like the Senate, I'm just going to warn you one more time not to do that, or else I'll remove it. Okay. Let's roll this podcast over into the bonus. Shall we do that? I know, we do, or is that the plan? Right? We're still keeping with the
boss. Whatever you want us to do.
Sorry, Greg. Greg says his never got read on Owen and Baroo's. We haven't done an Owen and Baroo's in a while. So.
Oh. Well,
Greg, you might as well send it to this one because no one listened to the other Owen Brews, so they wouldn't hear it anyway.
Well, Greg, with just the sake of time, would you mind if we take that into the bonus for you? That sound good.
Yeah, let's kill the bonus episode while we're at it.
What?
More Star Wars talk on the bonus episode.
Yeah, that's what Jack's thinking. He's like, can we talk about how JR is a Padre for life?
I want to talk about Spanos, damn it.
At least it's interesting.
Set one for the Mando final. Did we never do a follow-up Mando final? I guess
we did, but
you did.
You and I and Chris, I think. Yeah. And
well, let's take it into the bonus because I'm sure Chris wants to talk about Gina Carano.
If you like Gina Carano,
not really.
Maybe we really don't.
In the rain.
Maybe we really ever have to talk to her again. But apparently, Jay made some money.
Yeah, you did. So, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. Toys. Made some money on toys. Anyway, if you enjoyed this show and what we do here, we appreciate it. Send us an email, rate and review us on iTunes. Head over to jandjack.com, click on the Patreon link, or you can check out the merch that we have for the show. And there's some patrons that make this show possible. There's a ton that actually give us money. And
I think it's a dozen, actually.
A dozen. I think it's a baker's dozen, which is a Boston 50.
Yeah, right?
I don't see where Maggie's email says don't read it.
In the title.
There's several emails there, Jack.
Okay. I just saw one. Oh, second email. Okay, I see it.
We'll take this debate as well as
we got someone who wants to be a guest on the show.
It says more stuff, not an actual email.
Right.
Have you seen the person who wants to be a guest on the show? They
sure. Yeah, I did.
I just kind of ignore those.
Well, I'm just saying that could send us over the top.
We could get 56 people on this show. Anyway,
you tell them that they need to be a patron at a certain level, and then they can be a guest host.
I'm just trying to steer this puppy over here.
So here's what we're going to do. We have a few special people that we need to thank for their support on the show. They are special.
I like how Iris. Wait, I like how I responded to Maggie's
specific patron level. See, all you got to do, Matt, is just keep talking over Jack. And,
okay, go ahead.
Eventually, we'll go over here. So I want to thank, first of all, Tack from Dunkin, Eckhart Narcan, Dunkin' Ed Donut.
I like that.
Maggie the emailer, even though we're not reading it. Joanne with the
happy that Gina Carano got canned.
Happy with the Death Star
and all I have
Star
for
plans. and
I think
Greg Gap 1501.
You should have kept. You should have kept the donut. The donut theme was really going. I think you should have kept.
Yeah,
You
you fucked up on that one.
Matt, that was your best one yet, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. We should try this again next week. Huh?
I think that there's some merit to the performance aspect of it. I think that adds a little bit of a validity.
I got to be honest. I thought it sucked, but that's okay.
This is the new weekend update. It's Chris and Matt's show.
I love it.
All right.
Yeah.
Join us next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Check out the
God
live.
bless. Great show, kids. 1 in a million.
Check out the bonus link in the Patron section on Facebook. We'll have that up. Join us there in a few minutes. And what were you going to say, Jack?
I'm going to watch all Star Wars episodes so I can have something to talk about this next week.
That sounds like a great show.
You should, Jack. I mean, it's better than watching MASH.